What's up, guys? It's the Swingman here, back with another upload. Today what I'm going to do is go over what I used to do training-wise to get myself drafted and also play 6 years of professional baseball. It's a lot of hard work, and for those of you guys that really don't have an idea of where to start as far as training, hopefully this video helps you guys. So starting off, it's important to know that we have to train all parts of our game, okay? I know too many guys that just spent way too much time hitting and not enough time, running and throwing and fielding, and you become a one-dimensional player. So you have to understand that you don't want to be a liability on the base paths or in the field, and you got to understand that training is just as important as getting our swings in the cage. So just to give you an idea of what I used to do training-wise, basically me and my buddy Eric, which you see on the channel all the time, we trained together for years, and he played independent ball as well, and he and I would meet up at the facility typically throughout the week. We'd meet up at 10 a.m. Now this was 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And when we get there, basically we do our full stretch. Takes 5 to 10 minutes depending on how much we're talking, and we go right into our sprints or agilities. So typically Mondays and Thursdays were our sprints and plyometrics. So we would do whether it's flying 40s, some shuttle runs, but basically working on our running form and obviously our running speed. So after we do that, we do our plyometrics. So we do our box jumps, frog jumps, things to work on our explosive movements. So that training took about, I would say about 40 minutes or so to get all of our running and training in. Again, depending on what portion of the off season it was. At the start of the off season, it's not as extensive as it is towards the later end of the off season. So after we do that, we would get our gloves, we'll go to the field, and we'd play catch. So we'll get our arms loose, try to get as some long toss in, at least as long as we could go in the indoor facility. We are in Buffalo, New York, so we didn't have the availability to get outside and do long toss. So after we get our throwing in, then we'll do fielding drills. So whether it was doing throws, working on our crow hops, fielding ground balls. Now we were both outfielders, so we do outfielding drills. We'll work on our feet work, first steps, drop steps. Again, being indoors, we couldn't really work on fly balls, so we just had to work on our feet work and our footwork and working, side to side and working on our throws. So after we did that, that would take between the throwing and the fielding, we'll eat up, about a half hour or so. Then we'll go to lunch. Now, the facility we used to train at it was in a mall, so we'd go to the food court, maybe grab some Subway or something, and just have a small bite before we start to hit. So usually we would start hitting around noon, and we would basically hit for a good hour and a half, 2 hours. Now, I was a switch hitter, so I wanted to make sure I got my swings from both sides of the plate. It was important for me to not slack off on either side. I would want to work on one side more than the other, but I always made sure I got the same amount of swings from each side. And as far as hitting, basically we would do our rounds off the tee. I'd probably take 2 to 3 rounds off the tee from each side of the plate. Eric usually got warmed up a little faster. Obviously, he's only doing his right-handed swing. So after we do that, we'll get into front toss. Usually I do about 2 rounds from each side on front toss, and basically working up the middle, staying inside the ball, maybe the last few in the last round I'd work middle in. And then we'll go right into live batting practice, or we would sometimes do front toss, basically like a game. We would set up the tee game, which you may have seen on my channel before, called the tee game. I think I have one where I'm telling a story about Vladimir Guerrero and meeting him, and we're playing the tee game. But basically we set up the tees on the corners, and we'll either do hard front toss and changing up speeds and play a game against each other, just judging the hits. You know, something fun, but also to work on our approach, work on focusing in on our pitch. But yeah, we definitely kept it light. We tried to stay competitive, but also incorporate our approach with our mechanics. So again, we would hit for, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how we were feeling energy-wise and also with our swings. And that was pretty much Monday through Friday. As far as Tuesdays, Thursdays, those were our agility days. So instead of sprinting and doing the box jumps and all that, we would set up cones or ladder drills and do our agility work on the field before we started throwing. So time frame was pretty much identical. We were in the facility from 10 to 2 usually, maybe 10 to 3, depending on, again, depending on what we were working on that day or how the training was going, or if we had another guy with us that day as well. So Wednesdays, we didn't have any agility workouts, but we'll still go through our stretches. We'll still go through our fielding. So it was a little shorter day Wednesday, but still we made sure we got all of our work in. Now, when it came to the weekends, it depended how our swings felt throughout the week. If both of us felt like we needed that other day, we would do 6 out of the 7 days. We always took at least one day off. You know, it would be 5 to 6 days a week all throughout the off season. You know, we would give ourselves maybe, I'd say about 3 weeks after the season to rest, and then we get right into it. But that was only half of our day. So basically after we're done training, you know, 10 o'clock to 2 or 3 o'clock, I would usually go home, grab a bite to eat, and then I would go to the gym. And that's where I get all my weightlifting in. So I was usually in the gym 5 to 6 days a week as well. So essentially, training-wise, I was training for a good 6 hours a day if you incorporate all of the weightlifting, running, and hitting. And as far as weightlifting, I did have a question on my Instagram page asking about what I used to lift. Again, I'm trying to post some of my workout tips videos in here, and as I get more, you know, scheduled with my uploads, I'll definitely have better workout videos for you guys. But essentially, I would never really max out in my lifts. I was fairly strong. I love going to the gym. It played a big role in my career, in my opinion, was keeping my strength up. And you know, I was big into squats. I love pull-ups. Obviously, you know, with the bench and stuff, I would never do straight bar. Everything was dumbbell bench. But yeah, I would work on my strength, and then there would be times when we would be getting ready for the last, you know, remaining 6 weeks up to the season. I would incorporate a lot of explosive workouts on top of my normal workouts I would usually do throughout the off season. So again, it is very important to stay strong, but it's just as important to stay flexible and explosive through your motions. You don't want to take away from the game of baseball. You know, you still got to be able to move. You got to swing the bat. You got to throw the ball. So you don't want to be stiff. It's always great to look big, look jacked, but if you can't move, then what's the point? You know, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, I basically trained a ton all throughout my college career and professional, but it wasn't until my senior year in Mount Olive where I got a real grasp on training, you know, all 5 tools of my game, and I continued that all throughout my career, and it really did help me stay in shape, stay strong, and yeah, basically gave me a career to go back and teach you guys about. So I hope this video helps you guys. If you do have any questions regarding training, I'm always taking questions on my Instagram and YouTube page, and some of them are giving me great ideas to make videos for. Some of these videos you see me make are because people have been asking me these questions, so feel free to ask me anything in regards to training, and if it's something I feel like I need to elaborate more on, I'll definitely make a video of it. But other than that, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Again, let me know if you need any help.
109! What? Oh, no! I need one more. What?
Yes!
What?
For the channel!